Hey, welcome to the Dream Labs, Dr. Contrast Live. Hope everybody's well. We put a little program here today, and just for what it's worth, I think the intent today is going to be a very interesting one for me. It's I go through the process of sketch rendering, pencil, pen, ballpoint pen, etc., marker, but I just thought maybe this time around doing something a little more different, a little different approach in terms of graphic approach and keeping it more poster-like and much more graphic in terms of working with the 1970 197K series Porsche at Le Mans. So I just started out with, and again, I just want to be very clear. I like to change technique and approach quite a bit. Different looks, different character, different medium. This could be a marker sketch with just maybe a Sharpie pen and so forth, but I just thought it'd be kind of fun to just lay down some interesting graphic patterns and not get too caught up in a lot of detail. Much more poster-like, so it's almost like a symbology piece in terms of putting together a graphic format. And just chose a Porsche because it's an interesting combination of warm, cool colors. It's kind of neat. So to get you started, when I went at this page, I did a couple little rough studies. I started out with this little thumbnail sketch here up on the front corner, and I thought, well, that's not bad, but it's kind of a lonesome end here, a little more character to it. Missed a little bit of the wing series in the back of the tail section here, so started with that guy. Then went to a double combination where you have a lead machine and one behind it, and that's kind of an interesting format, and that's kind of a nice little interface for a graphic piece, but really magnify the thing and really fill the page. So the last study here, I just went ahead and went to a full size, well, not full size, but 1-to-1, enlarged it just a little bit to kind of get more of a really bold approach to the composition. It worked out pretty nicely in terms of just cutting it off, in terms of being very, very specific, and really playing up this whole idea of very, very, very flat graphic, but not to be just condescending at all, but just a flat graphic color base to kind of work a little sketch series here. So from that, went ahead and duplicated the sketch, and we've got one over here, for example. Just started a little line study here. So I'm going to go very, very loosely here with this thing and just fill in some of the blanks that we've talked about in the first intro here. First thing, let's get the background out of the way. I'm going to be a little bit sloppy in this thing, but I've got some crop marks to kind of bring me back in and trim it when we're all said and done. So let's get this guy started. We'll just come back in here and just get the backdrop in and get the silhouettes in place. Just gonna sketch through it just a bit here. Get the perimeters in place, and notice there's a lot more wing in this one as opposed to the first. The first sketch I did had that. Let me bring that back here. This one was missing that same kind of upkick in the wing series in the back. It's a little flat back here, so that's why I changed the composition a little bit to kind of bump it up a little bit and give more of that high tail 917 character to it. So let me just go ahead here. We'll get this all lined up. There's a back side of that form. Let's kind of straighten that up just a bit. It's a little stiffer. And now let's come into the lead car number 20. Number 21 here, let's kind of get the former in place. Let's get this guy through. We'll just slide this color right through here. Just get that nice graphic outline in place here. Now, let's put a little bit of thickness in this so I don't come back into the composition. We'll just kind of tune in some really high contrast graphics here. Again, the intent here is to be very graphic, not so much detail, but just a really neat looking, over some flat graphic poster look here. Just, and again, when it's all said and done, to simulate this 917 close coupling lead car, chase car behind it. So here we are. Just gonna get this all lined up. Just gonna go back and get the top of this thing all squared away. Just gonna fill it in. Get the upper place all set here, and we'll come back in and refill that again. Sometimes you have to go through these guys 2 or 3 times to get the impact of the dark blacks so it doesn't kind of streak on you. So there we are. Just gonna fill this in. Just laying it all in there, nice and boldly. There's the upper. Let that dry a little bit, come back in again, take it to it. Just gonna get the baseline down here. Let's get the shadows in place here. Let's do this. Let's get this guy. Yeah, let's get the front end character here. Let's kick that up. Draw that through. There we are. Get the rocker tumble home here. Let's roll that in. I'm not gonna really do a lot of tire graphics. I just want to simulate where the wells are here. So let's do this. Nice and fluid, nice and easy. Let's fill it in. It's really strong, bold graphics. So let's kind of plant that guy in. Oops, just gonna get this around up just a bit more. There we are. Let's kind of save a little bit of pavement area here. Let's take that off the page just a bit. Let's take that on through. Now let's get back into this. Save that little bit of pavement area there. Get that rocker shape in place. Let's roll this off just a bit more. There we are. That's better. Let's kick this in just a touch. And that. Now let's fill in the blanks down below here and get this ground surface put in place. Again, very graphic, very fast, very almost spontaneous in terms of very gesturely approach to the process here. We'll come back to a little bit of color later on. I just want to lay in some of the high contrast graphics first here. Get this guy to kind of sing a little bit. Now, see, all of a sudden the form started to kind of come off the page here a bit. So let's go back in through here. Again, get the tumbler to kind of come into play. Knock out the base. Get the tire in place here. We're going to come back and just kind of roll that off a little bit more. A little different here. There we are. Come back into here. Get the lead car or the second machine behind us here. Get that to come in. Graphic, graphic, graphic. There we are. Let's kind of fill this in just a bit. Then we'll let that dry. Let me kind of turn this around just a bit so we can see where we are. There we are. Fill this in. Take that through to that contact point on the rear wheel there. Fill that into place. We'll just get some of the details down here. A little more specific. I'm just kind of blocking it all in now to kind of get this thing started. There we are. High contrast graphics. Very loose at the time being, just kind of laying in some shapes. There we are, got that all set. Now let's come back in and we'll switch gears. Let's go back up on top here and make sure we get this nice and dark here. And one more pass. Make sure there's very little. There we are. High contrast. There you are. Almost it's silhouettes coming out of there now. It's kind of fun to just lay the graphics down and see what happens with it here. Now the next step here, I just want to come back in. Let's get the canopy in place here. Let's get the cockpit. It's kind of really, again, very graphic. Using a number 6 cool gray. Copic. And again, really fluid. As time moves on there too, gang, I'm going to start doing a lot more of this stuff. I mean, I want to change venue as much as I can. Sometimes you get caught up in the same approach, same sketch format, same overall look, same illustration style. It's nice to kind of switch paper, like tone paper, into the graphics like this and be very symbolic for not only vehicle design, maybe some architecture, maybe some watercolor, things to come up in the new year. We're going to change a lot of things around. So we'll add that to the mix here. Let's get this in place. Get that little high tail in this thing. Take that into the graphics. And let me just switch gears to the other side here. We'll get this guy. The windscreen in place. There it is. Catch a little bit of that. Very flat graphic approach, but in the sun nonetheless, I mean, it's a really interesting, compact approach to getting some really interesting graphics here to kind of work for us. Again, very much poster-like, so that's the intent here, gang. Just keep it nice and fluid. Go back into another pass here, kind of stain that in, make sure we're in good shape. Make sure it doesn't bleed on me too much here. Keeps it nice and solid. Number 6 gray again. Copic, there we are. It's gonna now I've got the canopy in place. Now you start to see the thing come together. It's taking some life here. Just gonna get the front piece in here. Same approach. Let's get the perimeters in place first, then we'll come back in and really hammer home some of the overall concept here. Let's kind of line that through. Here we are there. Get a good baseline in place. Get the upper to kind of run through there. And hopefully we don't run out of fluid here. We'll be in good shape. Just gonna go back in through this. And keep it as graphic as I possibly can here. So we can dig out another one here and see if it's got some real juice to it here. Hopefully this will kind of give us a little more More zip to it. There we are. Yeah, that's got some real strength. There you go. Cool. That's more better. A little bit of a different change. Switching gears here to go to number 7. A little closer, a little more impact. Higher contrast. That's when I walk that right through here first. Let's get the graphics in place first. Now let's come back in. Probably as I rotate the paper here a little bit. Then we'll get this guy. Save a little bit of reflection in there. Now, again, number 7 gray, just walking it right in there. You know what? That's too much. Let's keep it nice and bold and flat. There you go. That's better. Let's go front to back here. Let's get the other one in place here. Same system. Number 7. No need for a lot of polish here. We're just looking at a real strong, bold graphic. Get it to really tune in here for us. And we'll just lay in some really interesting surface work here. There it is. So there you are. There's the windshield ground set background in place, and just slowly build this thing off the shape of the page here. So let's go back in here for a second here, and let's get this little slot in place here. Sharpie pen, just gonna lay a little bit more graphics in here. Making my time not to be too animated in some of these areas here, but just gonna give it a nice presence of where that dump box is in the front of the machine. There it is there. It's gonna go there. It's got a little bit of that darkened part there. A little bit of an intake back up on top of the rear quarter area. Same thing on this guy here. Just going to lay that in. Get some of this real loose stuff here. Now I'm going to get a little more gestural with it. Just to kind of give some character. Just to get it started. Let's get the number system in here. Just going to get this all laid up. When I'm at it, just kind of lay that in just ever so slightly. Actually, those are the actual numbers too that ran at Le Mans in 1970. Number 20 and number 21, kind of like a chase machine, one to the other. So there we are. Got that in place. Let's get this number 20 in place here. Let's get that second part of that in there. We'll come back in and get some of that more contrast in those. Get rid of those little white spots in there. Just want to lock in the things first here, keeping it nice and easy. A little bit more of a point there. There it is. Cool. There's number 20. Let's go back in and get the same thing up front here. Turn this around just a bit here, upside down. And again, same trick. Let's get the numbers in place here. Keeping it nice and simple. Let it bleed off the page just a little bit. Number 21. That's that. Let that blend into that little brake intake in the front end of the machine here. Just gonna let the number blend into it because that shape just kind of dives off and rolls into the form itself. Actually, I think I've got enough of that perimeter there laid down that I can come back in with that darker marker, black marker, and just really fill it in and get nice and bold with it. There we are. That's better. A little more secure. Same thing down below. Let's go back to this guy. Let's get this up just a bit. Kind of beef that up just a touch. Get that in place. Get the number and series in there. There you are. Very cool. Let's get this little intake piece up on top here. Again, just implying some of the body graphics on the shapes here. Just really having fun with this guy. So let's go back and get some of the graphics around the lamps here. I'm just going to be very, very fluid with this as well. It's going to get this and just now I'm going to get a little more animated with this thing here. Let's kind of lay them in. Little accent stripe down at the rocker area there. We'll take that right on through in the corner here and around the bend. And let's carry it back here. And there it is. That same kind of graphics. Notice how all of a sudden things are starting to just come together here. And again, this whole idea is to get this very graphic format down. Very simple, not a lot of detail, just high impact poster type graphics. Let's put a shadow, we'll drop it in this glass here. We'll drop in here. Now let's get the rest of this lamp in place here. Same kind of beefy, almost very gesture to look at it here. Same process. Just gonna put some little reflective light in here. Just gonna bring that through just to scratch it up a bit. Let's get that little detent piece in the graphics and just catch enough of that coming around the corner here. Off the page and into the front end, just let it roll out of there. Now, there we are. We're just starting to get the lamps in place, some body graphics in place now, windshield's in set. So we'll come back in just one more time here. Now, this is the fun part. I'll come back in. Let's get that Gulf blue in here. Let's go back and just stain this thing first. Let's get this guy started. Let's come back in through here. Very quick. Very quick and just graphic. That's what I'm after. Now, there we go. It's going to do this. Cross-reference it just a bit. Pick up a little bit of bleed there. Graphics, just really bold sets of graphics. There we are. Let that go right there. There's one side. Oh, it's just little by little coming together here. Let's gotta get the front end of this guy. Let's get this guy. The Gulfstream Blue. I'm gonna come back in there just for a second. I want to separate that just a bit more back there. Yeah, that's better. Just a little bit more of that. Get one from the other. Take this in. You get that same body graphic going on here. Very simple, straightforward, very graphic. May take a couple of passes here to get it to kind of roll, but we'll get there. And on the number graphic here, we'll take this into play. Just rework this guy, get the pass in first, and we'll just smooth it all out as we go here. You just have to keep building the forms so it doesn't get too bloody and just kind of blurs itself out just a little bit more there. There we are, a little bit of the canopy up on top there. There we are. A little bit of that little dive into the quarter area here. There we are. Into this. Come back in and just restain this guy. Just make sure it's all nice and smooth. There we are. Almost there. I want to keep this really boldly graphic. Not a lot of detail in there. Just want to come back and make sure it's nice and smooth here. Kind of tough to do with a marker, but nonetheless, we'll get there. Keep passing into it. Keep passing into it. And little by little, we'll take some of the tone quality out of it, just enough to kind of give it a nice, consistent look here that we're after. Just graphics. There it is. A little cross-reference in the sketch here. One more pass. That just about got it. Let's put a little bit of ground reflection in here too. I'm just gonna get that, take some of that out of here. Let's get this into play too. Nice and graphics. There we are. There's the two front and rear machine. There we are. Pretty cool. Coming together now, gang. There it is. Now let's have a little bit of fun with this thing. Let's kind of put that accent orange in there. Again, very bold, very straightforward, very graphic. There's the up, next lower that piece, there it is there. Let's get the stripe up on top here, over the top of the header. Getting very bold. Same thing on the machine behind me here. And for all intents and purposes, that's just about got her. There it is. It's coming together here nicely. Just very, very graphic, straightforward. Nothing really fancy. Again, very bold graphics. There it is. Come back in here, a little bit of, let's get back in through here. A little bit of lighting here. Get that in place. A little bit of reflection down on the roadway. On the track. Graphic. There it is there. Let's come back in again one more time here. A little bit of, let's dull that off just a bit here. Number 2 gray, just to kind of cool that off just a bit here. Same thing up front here, just enough to. And there it is. Come back in one more pass on this with this number 7 gray in the back here, just to kind of give a little more depth. There it is, just a touch. Let's stain that in, and same thing here. We'll stain that in. So a little more punch here. Well, there you go, gang. It's coming out nicely there. It's pretty close to, I'm just about completed there. I just want to really go back and really roll the nice, simple little graphic piece here that kind of gives it a little bit of presence to it. And getting away from some of the typical traditional things I've done in the past where it's very, very assertively bold, etc. A lot of graphic pattern in this thing, which I think is really a lot of fun to work with. Just got to go back and get more of this, there it is. Look at that. And a little bit more of that so it separates itself in the tail section there. There it is. Same thing on top of there it is, right there. Very cool. So there we are. Let's try one little trick here, just to kind of give a little bit of presence. Let's see if we can get a little bit of temper in this guy. Not to gum up the works, but to give a little bit more character to it. There we are. Just want to try a little trick of this, see if it'll work. That's a bit of reflective quality in the lighting. Just a little bit more of that. That's a little bit better. There we go. A little more luster in the lighting system here, and I think we can just about have it. Let me get a little more definition back here, a little bit brighter. There it is. And up on top here, just a touch more. There we are. And hopefully that should do it. That just about has it wrapped up there, gang. Again, a little study in graphics. Very bold, very poster type look at this thing. So let's do this. If I can get this, let me see if I can get a fine line pen here. Put my sign this beauty, and we'll get it. Call it a day. There it is. So there it is. There's the little variation on theme here on the Porsche 917 K-Type at Le Mans. Very interesting set of circumstances. Again, a very graphic approach. Just want to be very, very lucid with it. Not a lot of detail, and just getting a character down of the two machines. Hey, the real Shadow can. Hey, Doc, some Porsches today. Yeah, I just wrapped it up here. Shadow, good to have you on board here, man. I just went ahead here just before you saw the end of the show here. I went ahead and did a series of little thumbnail sketches on the 917K. Just to get more of a little bit of a different approach. Whatever, yeah, it's a great machine, very, very interesting machine. But we've done a lot of illustration, very, very technical stuff, a lot of illustration for client base and so forth, and very, very, that is a neat art. Yeah, it's a very interesting style. It's almost like more poster graphics. I mean, very graphic, very heavily laden with just bold graphics, not a lot of detail, just a real neat approach to high contrast, and that Porsche, the color combination was terrific, so that's why I decided to go. Started here with a little thumbnail sketch, Shadow, and it just didn't kind of miss the little tail section. I like the idea of the graphics, and I went to a composition where you had lead car chase machine, and all of a sudden it had a little bit more of a character feel to it. So I took that same image and just enlarged it a little bit to say, okay, what happens if we add a little bit more detail or less detail? So this is kind of the prototype for what I started with here, and so I took that guy, and there it is. From there to there's the finished machine right there. If I can get these guys to line up here, let's see if we can go the other way. How's that? Let me do this. There's a family of forums right there, guys. There's a whole lot of little Porsche studies here. So this is where we started, for example, right here. And this is where we ended up. Just a nice graphic format here. So I think I'll crop this guy down, get it photographed, and put it in a library. And again, very, very graphic, straightforward stuff. It's very interesting. I like it. Looks very, yeah, it's slick. There's not a lot of bells and whistles in it, Shadow, not a lot of contour detailing, highlighting, and cross-section work and cut lines and the like. Just a very bold approach to graphic poster type, because again, these forms really suit that. You can almost read the shapes with the color combination. The color combination did a lot to do it as well, a lot with it, because again, a Gulfstream blue and then high contrast orange, just really, and no graphics, no nothing, just pure shape. So I'm glad you had a chance to join forces with us here today, Shadow. Looking pretty good, and I think what I might do here today is very cool. Love it. Yeah, thank you. Likewise, I'm very thank you for taking the time to tune in. I know you're very busy here. So when all said and done here, I'm going to crop this guy down and make sure that it's nice and clean. We'll get it all cleaned up, and then take some of the bite off the overracket here. So I put the crop marks on it, so I know where I was when it's all said and done. And we'll let it go at that. And I think the announcement I want to make here too, I think this might be the last presentation I'll have on Twitch throughout the course of the year here. Obviously, because of the holiday season coming in, a lot of people are very, very busy, and it's going to be tough to do. I might be able to put one on Thursday. I'm not sure what the schedule is going to be like. But boy, if you're kind enough, and if I do join you, I'll put out a note on Discord to let you know either I'm going to be live or not. I've got a couple things I need to take care of, as we all do at this time of the year. So with that thought in mind, I just really want to make sure that we had a chance to put something on today, a little bit of a different, approach to it. With a much more poster graphic with the 917s. So as I said, I'll try to go on Thursday if we can make it. If not, I won't know until probably late Wednesday about what the status is going to be. But I'll put a note out on Discord. If that's the case, I just want to take a moment to all of you who are very kind enough to tune in throughout the course of the year and watch the program. Hey, Doug, how are you? How you doing? Were you there all the time, Doug? You hot dog? Good to have you on board. How are things going, Doug? Did you see this thing from start to finish? I'll just wait for a response here. But in the meantime, as I said, I would love to be able to go on Thursday, but I'm not quite sure what the schedule is going to look like here. But should I not do that, as I said, I'll put a note out on Discord, make sure that's all squared away. And then we'll pick up the pieces in the new year, looking for some interesting things. I'm going to start doing some recycle work. I'm going to start putting a little bit of a different approach to it here, doing some recorder work to maybe add to the website. different subject matters, maybe get some watercolor, more graphic things like this, have product to work, and just a nice, good cross-section of things. So all that to say, thank you so much for your patience and being with me throughout the course of the year, and I hope you and your family have a tremendous, very, very, very Merry Christmas if I don't get to see you on Thursday, and a great New Year. I'm looking forward to the New Year coming in, and we'll just kind of crank it up again and just keep at it. Really neat stuff. So it's been fun. I've enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to building the audience, and to me, it's been really a unique approach to making things come to life here for myself. Learned an awful lot throughout the course of the year, thanks to Shadow and his game, helping me through the technical stuff, and the audience has been great as far as interface is concerned. So I'll put a note out and again on Discord to thank you all again. And if you have a moment, you can take a look at my website at drcontrast.com. I've got some things there to work with. And again, any notes you might have about things you want to work with in the new year, please feel free to drop me a note. I would love to be able to come back and then just feedback on some of the things you're dealing with, what you'd like to see done, and also going to update the site. That's right, Shadow. We're going to update the site a little bit, put a little more refresher, try to get in some. I think one of the most interesting things I'm going to try to, well, not try, but definitely on the agenda in the January of this year is to start putting together a series of automotive design stuff, product design things, architecture, interior space, but very, very quick 20-minute little recordings to get up on the website, and we'll change the format there. We're looking at getting into Udemy, Skillshare, changing some of the format here, and I just think it's time to refresh that thing a little bit and see what happens with it. And hopefully we'll be adding a store. I want to take it off the website and do it more individually if we can get that squared away, adding things like poster graphics, t-shirts, different variety of things that we can control on our own, as opposed to going out there with another source kind of feeding it through for us. So again, that's going to be a lot of fun to deal with here, gang. So a lot of neat stuff going on in the on the program here, folks. So but I think the thing I want to say most is to thank you so much for your loyalty, for your followership. It's really, really interesting me, and I'm very grateful and very humbled by it. So again, very, very Merry Christmas to all of you. A great New Year, and stay tuned. If I'll let you know if I'm on Thursday. If not, we'll send out a note, as I said earlier, on Discord to make sure that that's taken care of. And again, very, very Merry Christmas to all if I don't get a chance to see you on Thursday, and a great New Year. And last but not least, I always make this very, very strong comment because I really believe it with all my heart. Never forget to remember to dare be great, because that's it. That you've got that choice. You have that power within you, and I'm really glad we've had a chance to chat with one another throughout the course of the year. New one coming. It's going to be exciting. Thank you, Shadow, for tuning in. Doug, always a pleasure to chat with you, and hope all is well with you and your family. Take care, gang, and we'll see you hopefully Thursday, if not in the new year. So keep me posted, and I'll do likewise with you all as well. So thanks again, gang. All the very best, and take care.